And welcome back, everybody, to Offsides, the unofficial official podcast of Charlotte Football Club. I am your host, Andres Robledo, and today I'm joined by my co-host, Pablo Robledo. Pablo, how's the week?
Good week. Watched more soccer games this weekend and no golf.
Yeah, it's almost time to start getting back out there and playing a couple rounds. So, big episode ahead. We've got to celebrate the big win by the Charlotte Football Club, which was awesome to see. Uh, our thoughts on the match, thoughts on the upcoming match. But even before we get into that, I sent you a TikTok yesterday of how MLS used to do penalties in the 90s. And for those listening, I'll post it on our Instagram and Twitter. But basically what they do is the penalty taker pushes the ball out about, maybe 5-10 yards in front of them and then just dribbles straight at the keeper for a one-on-one, and it's like a 40-yard sprint. The keeper comes out, and that's how they took penalties. What are your thoughts on that? Should we bring that back?
No way should we bring that back. It's just atrocious to look at. I don't know what they were thinking when they were like starting that, thinking it was catch on or what, but it was like it reminds me a lot of like the XFL whenever they first started, and it was like for who was gonna get the ball, like they just put the ball in the center and have two guys running at each other. It just reminds me of that.
The only other sport I can think of that does anything like that is like hockey.
Yeah, but I
Like
mean
that's how
they've always
penalties.
done it like that.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Like, but
just
soccer PK is just, I mean, you got the PK marker, and most of the times it goes in, and that's just how it is. I mean, don't try to fix something that's not broken.
yeah.
Condition. I mean, that's the PK.
Oh yeah, that video I just thought was hilarious. I can't imagine having to try to take a PK that way. And I don't know if it was just like the quality of play or what, but like they would all just push the ball like 20 yards in front of them and then sprint. Like I don't know if that was the rule or if you could do something different, like actually, dribble. But
Yeah, or maybe they had a timer. Maybe they had a time like a countdown timer. You just had
oh
to.
yeah, that makes sense actually.
But I don't. I didn't watch MLS back then.
I'm not even sure if I was alive.
Yeah, I don't know if you were. I know Carlos Valderrama used to play in MLS back when that first started, but I didn't follow it back then. I don't know.
Oh, but yeah, that really I was, on TikTok at like 1:30 in the morning and that made me laugh. But all right, let's get on with today's episode. Um, you had a couple of things you wanted to talk about, starting with what do you want to start with?
Well, I mean, obviously you were at the game. I was watching from home. What was your experience like this go around in comparison to how it was for the home opener? You know, what was the atmosphere like? What was the fans like? Uh,
Yeah.
go into that a little bit.
So it was definitely a little bit easier or a lot easier to get into the stadium this go around. There was only I think like 29,500 people at this game, and that was, by design. They only sold tickets to the lower sections, 300 and below. But actually, I was actually a little bit worried at first because it wasn't like the first game, people got there pretty early, like in their seats pretty early. And this time, that felt like maybe like 60 or 70% of the people got there like right at kickoff, or like I guess at the national anthem part. So like leading up to it, it was actually pretty empty. But once everyone was in there, those 30,000 people, it felt really electric. People were getting loud. At one point, trying to think of when it was. Oh, it was when Josie Altidore of New England, he missed a shot, and I was screaming so loud that
He
he
missed
was.
several shots.
Yeah, I was screaming so loud that he was washed that my whole body like went numb, and I went a little bit deaf, where like the whole stadium was silent and I could only hear me shouting. And then as soon as I stopped, I heard the crowd roaring again. But it was great. I mean, like the 30,000 in there, everyone was loud, everyone was cheering up and down off their seats. It was a good atmosphere. I was looking at average attendance because it was funny because some New England fan on Twitter said something about like, wow, imagine playing in like a half empty stadium.
Of course.
And I looked up how New England's average attendance is, and their average attendance for an MLS game is like 19,000, or maybe even less than that. And I just tweeted chirp back at him like it was still literally double your average attendance. And then I looked just across the MLS, and on average, the only people that are pulling in more than 30,000 attendees are Atlanta United and Seattle, both in the 40s. So, for a second game, if we can keep this up all season, like that's huge. Like we're going to be one of the biggest clubs in the league, with one of the biggest fan bases. So it was great to see. It was a lot of fun making the crowd sing the national anthem like a tradition, which I think is cool. It's like a little cheesy, but I think it gives you like the opportunity to always come back to that very cool moment on the first home game. Like so in 10 years, if you bring
It
your
keeps up
kids,
and stuff.
yeah, and
Yeah.
kids ask like, why do we sing the national anthem like no one else does it? You can be like,
Wait, so
well, in
how
the
did that
very
go?
first
Like,
game.
did somebody in the announcement get in and be like, "All right, we're gonna sing the national anthem together," or how
Um,
did that transpire?
I know so like if you have the Charlotte Football Club app, there's always like a know before you go section,
Oh,
and they had it in there. And then they had the lyrics up. I can't
did
remember
they?
if the singer, yeah, they put the lyrics up. I can't remember if the singer said something or not,
Yeah, I
but
was getting
like,
ready to ask you, did you look up the lyrics?
no, they had them up thankfully,
Yeah, I know you don't know
but
them.
I don't know them. But what was crazy is like I don't know how much you get paid to like sing the national anthem at a sporting event. The guy who got picked to do it this time, that had to have been the easiest money he's ever gotten because I think he was literally just said the first like 4 or 5 words and
So
then
they
like
still
let it
brought
go.
somebody in to sing while you guys all sing it?
Yeah, some guy from American Idol.
Oh, I thought they were just not gonna bring people in. Who knows? Whatever money they usually spend on paying somebody, you could just divvy it up on all the attendance and refund it.
Yeah, David Tepper was like, "Oh yes, we're covering some costs here."
Yeah.
But no, it was really cool. People were loud. Some people were like complaining about like the app not working to order food and stuff, and like,
Like bring it to you?
wait, what?
Like food, then they bring it to you?
No, like you can. So like if you're a season ticket holder in the Silver Club, they give you concession credit,
Oh.
but you have to do like mobile ordering online. Like it's kind of like a convoluted way to use your credits. But people were complaining that like it wasn't working and it wasn't working the first week, and I'm like, I mean, the people working the register, they're not going in the back to fix the program to fix the code.
Sure.
Um, so I don't, it feels like empty complaining. But other than that, I thought it was great. And people are really getting involved and really hyped about it. A lot of the people I ran into, it was their first like game, like they missed the home opener and they went to this one. But I think this next home game might be like sold out, because you're gonna have like all the people that went to this one that had a good time. They'll probably go again because they saw them
Mhm.
win. And you're gonna have the people who missed out on going to the first home game and then missed out on the first win. A good portion of those people will probably be like, I gotta go to one, and probably go to this one. Coming off
Yeah.
a good
Yeah.
performance, a good win. So I think this next home game is gonna be pretty crazy.
Yeah, there was a couple guys at my job, they were talking about wanting to go to a game just 'cause, I've heard so many good things about it. I told them I was like, "Start looking for tickets now because 'cause they're selling out." I know when Atlanta's coming to play, those tickets are, I don't wanna say they're almost sold out, but their price is going up, and the wife and I, we had a good time, especially with the girls.
Yeah,
Yeah, she was talking about wanting to go to another one, so I went ahead and got some more tickets for the, June game that, the Red Bulls, they're coming to play. So, I grabbed 4 more of those. But yeah, everybody's, like, wanting to just experience it, you know?
yeah,
But, you, coming in, I was gonna ask you, so that's 2 historic moments that you've been in, for this team now, the home opener and now their first win. So, I mean, that's pretty cool, like, to tell years
yeah,
on.
yeah. I mean, because but like while we were paying for the season tickets, I was always in the back of my head like, is this really gonna be worth it? Like, as you always have like kind of like that buyer's remorse kind of thing. Like, is this really worth it or not? But after those 2 games, like I'm always gonna be able to tell my kids, and when Jen and I take our kids one day like to those games, like we're always gonna be able to tell them like, yeah, we were here at the first one, we were here at the first win, like,
Yeah.
and if my kids are anything like me, they're gonna get crazy about soccer and probably this local team and are gonna look into the history and will probably be like, do you know they played in 2022? Like, yeah, I was there. Like, I was at that first game. So it's just that alone has been worth it. To be part of like a historic first season, and it's kind of crazy when you think about it because like especially you and I, we grew up watching a lot of like European soccer, and even like a lot of the soccer in Colombia where we're from. Like it would just be impossible to be part of those moments because they've been going on for so long,
Hmm.
you know. So it's cool to like be part of the history here, you know, in our little city.
Yeah, yeah. I'm finally glad that we got like a home team that we can actually just have somebody to root for instead of just like the overseas clubs. I mean, I like them just because of like players that have came through and I've
Yeah,
kind of admired as I was growing up playing soccer. But just the atmosphere that being at a game is and having just a local team to cheer for, like when we lived in Colombia and then there was Deportivo Cali, which was the team I liked, and you liked America, which was the rival team. You know, just having that over here is just it's a good moment to go back on and it's just having a good time with it.
yeah, and it's finally a team that we both support. Usually we're on like opposite ends.
Yeah,
But
yeah, because you like Barcelona and I like Real Madrid.
yeah.
Which you know, good weekend for you. Both your teams won this weekend.
Yeah,
Real Madrid lost real bad.
I would say I'm very much like a casual Barcelona fan. I was more a Ronaldinho fan. Yeah, but yeah, that was also a good game. Definitely, if you can go back and watch that game, that's it was very entertaining to watch. But all right, let's keep going with Charlotte FC here. You had another question that we were talking about off the podcast about the turf fields versus real grass, and that's been watching a lot more MLS nowadays. That's been a big thing. I've also noticed is like how many fields are actually turf here in this league compared to overseas where it is still real turf. Um, you
Yeah,
know,
real grass.
yeah, real grass. So what were your thoughts on that? And then I know you wanted to kind of hear what I had to say, but we'll start with you.
Yeah, well, you know, playing on turf is like playing on just a perfect field. You know, that it just goes. It's all smooth. That you always have like the perfect bounce. It makes also the pace or the quickness of playing a little faster um, because when on that on those little rubber pellets and on that fake grass, the ball just seems to roll a little faster. So um, as opposed to when you're playing on grass,
Yeah,
whether it's like you know if you're playing on a wet field, it's gonna slow down your play a lot more, and it's liable for more mistakes. But you know that's part of it. I understand that turf is because you know you're using the same stadiums and a lot of the NFL plays on turf. It's cost efficient. You know, you're not having to pay for all that um, the caretaker or the field, you know, watering it and
yeah,
cutting the grass and all that stuff. So I get that part of it. Um, but I would like to see some games or more games played on just just grass, just actual grass fields. I guess the weather aspect of it. If you're playing in rain and it slows it down, more mistakes, things like that. As opposed to if you're playing on turf, it's just always just perfect conditions.
yeah. I would caveat that with though, saying like I don't think you and I ever played on like pristine grass fields. Like you do see overseas or like some of the top big clubs get to play on.
Yeah.
Because like when you watch games that are on like real grass and like how good of a condition those games are, like it is really slicked and like really quick pace. But for our playing experience, yeah, I always liked artificial turf more because of what you said. Like it makes it a little bit quicker. The pace of the game is quicker. I always think about it too of like where we played with artificial turf, which was at Strikers in Huntersville. And so I just always just liked that whole vibe anyways, just because it was like smaller fields, like quicker, you had to be real technical. So
Yeah.
so for me, I liked it because it played to all the strengths of my game of like being a good dribbler, good passer, quick on and off the ball, but like I didn't have to run a lot.
Yeah, and you don't have like those bad patches of grass or something where the ball could get stuck, or you have bad foot and things like that.
Yeah.
Or you try to make a long pass and it takes a weird bump off of some rock or something like that. Yeah, I get that part of it. But you know that's a little bit of like almost I don't want to say history, but a little bit of that game that gets lost with this turf, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it's like what they say in golf, like it's the rub of the green. Like, sometimes you just get these bounces and that's part of it.
Yeah, I guess there's pros and cons to it, but
Well, it's kind of
um,
like
guess that's the way the game is evolving.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot. It's really similar to like how VAR has been the last couple years. You know, like you're able to review calls now, as
Yeah,
we
yeah,
before it was like if there's a bad call, that's just part of the game.
that's just
Like
it.
you got to
Yep.
go with it. But now it's like if there's a bad call, you go back and review it. So the
Hmm.
game's just changing. And it makes sense. Like there's so much money
For the
being put
better.
into it. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I kind of. I mean, I don't really like VAR to be honest.
I
Whenever
like
like
it
a
when
call
when it's favorable on our side.
yeah, that's true. That's true. But there is like a certain aspect to me that's gonna miss that part of like a bad call is just part of the game. Like you just gotta go with the licks. But it's changing. There's so much money in the game now. Like, of course it's gonna change. Of course they're gonna try to make it so there's no like variables to it besides just performance. But all right, moving on. Let's talk about the big event. So we had our second home game and our first win in franchise history, 3-1 over New England Revolution. A huge win. Beating the arguably the best team of the league last year. They had the most MLS record for points in regular season. Best record ever in MLS history, coached by Bruce Arena, legendary coach in MLS and US national history. So very big win, huge performance by Charlotte. One thing I wanted to touch on was, you know, I think it's Wednesday. New England Revolution had a CONCACAF Champions League game. They lost in penalties. Or they just lost in penalties. They blew a 3-0 lead. That was kind of like a lot of the big issues going into this game was, is Charlotte even facing a full strength New England team? What are your thoughts on that?
We faced who we faced, and we got the win against the people that showed up to play.
Do you think
Um,
that midweek game really does much though, like to stamina, performance, any of those things?
I'm sure it does have some. 'Cause you're going from Saturday or Sunday game to a Wednesday game, and then back to another Saturday Sunday game with travel included, and all. And I'm sure there's some practices, so very little rest time for that. But still, I mean, if you're gonna be a championship team and you get invited to these other cups to participate in, that's something that you have to take. You have to assess that.
Yeah.
If you're going to participate in these off league competitions, then you gotta plan for your guys. Like, okay, do I play my A team for this cup and then my B team for this game, or do you just play all your starters all the time? Like, as a coach, that's something that they have to take accountability for. I thought we played a good New England team. They
Hmm.
showed like there was a couple of times where they could have scored and just either we stopped them or they missed it. That's how it goes sometimes. But still, I don't think a lot of that Wednesday game that they had went into effect on what we had this past Saturday.
Yeah, for me, like especially cheering on for some of these bigger European teams. I mean, they're playing games every 2 to 3 days, and the squads there are a little bit have more depth, and you are rotating players a little bit more. But I don't know. I kind of felt like just because you had to play one more game in the middle of the week, like I kind of felt that was like a lame excuse, especially by the New England fan base. Like I don't think that's that taxing on those guys. Like they're in really good shape. Like they're preparing for
Yeah,
it, and like I don't know, one game's really not that, and it didn't even go into extra time. It went straight to PK, so it's just 90 minutes. Like
exactly.
if they didn't play that game, they have what, a 2 3 hour practice session. So I mean, it's the same amount of like running. Like I don't know. To me, I don't think that really affects your performance that much,
And
or at
just
all,
to
actually.
even reverse the tables a little bit, let's say they had, or let's say we had lost this past game. That's something that those guys would have just been saying, like, oh, we had this game Wednesday, and then we played you guys, and we still beat you. That, like, it's just something that is a sore loser. He's gonna have
Yeah.
find find some sort of excuse to make. So no, I don't think there's any ground to stand on there. Loss is a loss. I you and I, especially you, both called it. We were predicting a win against this team. just because they didn't look that strong. And we have looked strong as a team. Yes, we did lose our first 3 games, but it was against championship teams. Not to take away from New England, but
Who I would say is also on that caliber. I would say like
right,
everyone we've played has been a top tier team in
yeah.
the league. I
But
don't
it's
think
not
we've
like
played
we've
any
been
easy
blown out
games.
by those other teams.
Yeah,
We've held our
exactly.
own.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, the Dallas game, not Dallas, but the EC United game was 3-0, but it was like, the first game. But we did really good against Atlanta. We finally got a goal. We did really good against Galaxy.
Yeah,
So no, I thought our team was the stronger of the two, and
yeah.
we predicted a win. I said either 2-1 or 1-0, and you said 3-0, and you were right on the money. I think you even said what did you say, two on Soderski and one on Bender, and that's exactly what we got.
Yeah, so I was watching. Yeah, I did call the Sergersky double and the Bender goal. I was watching a lot of like New England highlights. I didn't watch any of the like their full matches, but it just felt like a lot of the chances they gave up, or a lot of the spaces that they gave to their opponents, were right where like Sergersky kind of was doing a lot of his best work the first 2 games, or the last 2 games, LA and Atlanta. And it just felt like when a striker like Swiderski is creating all those opportunities, or finding those opportunities, like it's basically a numbers game where it eventually has to go your way. I think you and I have seen that a lot for players. And then for the Bender one, Bender's development reminds me so much of like Andres Iniesta's development, like early on at Barcelona,
Mm-hmm.
where he was like a young like wonder kid, like was that slowly got like put into the team, like out on the left wing,
Yeah.
and like just kept improving every game, every game. And so I think for me, I think Bender's going to be kind of like that. He's going to have that kind of career path, hopefully, of like this young upcoming star who is just going to have a big impact on the game. I think he'll eventually, just like Iniesta, he'll get moved from the left wing to that center position, so that way he can have even more of an influence on the overall game. I think it probably won't happen anytime soon, maybe not even this season, just because there's a lot of competition in that middle now.
Yeah, there
And
is.
he's
I mean, you
doing a
got
lot of
Ortiz.
yeah, and he's doing a lot of damage on that left wing. It seems to be working for him.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I should have called the 3-1, knowing that we'd give up a penalty. It seems to be
Well, I
tradition.
mean, that is another downfall that we had. It's another penalty given. What is this? Our fourth? No,
Third and three.
third penalty given.
Yeah, 3 and 4 games.
Yeah. Which is, man, that's a momentum killer.
Yeah, but you know what? I was really proud of like the way the team stepped up after, and we can get into this in more detail. But
Yeah.
to give up that goal and then they could recover and go get 2 more like shortly after was huge. But what were your thoughts on the overall game?
I thought we had a really good game. Going back to what that one uh, New England fan had said about that they had that game. New England also lost the game before, so they're in a bit of a funk right now. So that was also to our advantage, because we're starting to build momentum, like we discussed last week. So I thought we came out really strong. We had most of the possession throughout the game.
Yeah,
Looking at the stats, I want to say it was like a
like 55-45 possession, something like that.
right. Which I mean, when I was looking at it, I think I had told because I was watching it with Dad, and I said I think right now it's probably like a 60-40.
It definitely felt, yeah, because like when I saw the stats at the end of the half, it felt like we had more possession, and it definitely felt like we were more dangerous with the possession that we had than New England was with theirs. So let's talk starting lineup. There was a couple changes in it. You've got the lineup there. What do you think of the changes of the starting lineup, the formation, compared to our game against Atlanta?
Yeah, when I saw that the lineup did not include Ortiz, I was very surprised, because, as I've said before, this is the number 10 of the team, and number 10 carries a lot of weight with him. He's supposed to be, if he's not the captain, the unofficial captain of the team. Um, so I was surprised when I didn't see him in the lineup there. I was happy when I saw that Rios was starting because I've seen some of the Rios highlights and he looks good. But he's been real quiet the past couple games when he not started, but just been in there. You know, a lot of missed opportunities from him.
Yeah, I guess the manager Ramirez, he must have seen something in practice to give him that start, just because. And I think also having Reina out probably didn't help, because I think if Reina was healthy, he probably would have started in that second striker position. But I mean, he must be seeing something that we're not seeing in practice, because the way I think about it is he had a little bit of impact on the LA game, but not much. And then the Atlanta game, I kind of felt like he just was a ghost. He just wasn't really involved all that much and not really capitalizing on any opportunities. So for me, for him to get the start was a bit of a shock. I
Yeah.
don't think his performance hurt, but I also don't think, again, he had any big impact.
No, he was relatively quiet throughout the game. He had some real missed chances there where he could have put one in and it could have just helped to score more. But overall, I'm not too critical of the lineup. I liked what he did there, especially with Alcivar taking Ortiz's spot there. He helped out that middle attacking field a lot. When that first goal, we're 5 minutes into the game and Soderski puts one in from outside the box. I mean, I've been preaching that the last
Yeah.
couple of weeks. I'm like, we need more shots from outside the box. We need more shots from outside the box. And first goal, boom, right outside the box. And I was just like, finally, like
Yeah. The
somebody's listening.
the inclusion of Alcivar, to me, like in hindsight, is huge, right? I didn't really think much about it at the time. I thought it was justified to bench Ortiz. I just felt like he hasn't done a lot. Kind of similar to that Rios, uh, performance of, like, he's not doing a whole lot to hurt the team, but he's also not doing a lot to, like, create. At least for me, he wasn't doing a whole lot.
Create those attacking moments or those counterattacks.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
and
hasn't really been there that much for it.
he's not a center midfielder. And I think Alcivar is a much more natural center midfielder. He kind of, to keep on the Barcelona track, kind of reminds me of Xavi a little bit, of like, dropping down deep to get the ball, moving it around, doing 1-2s around people, playing great through balls into space. The connection between, like, him, Franco, Lindsay, and Sergeski on that right side was beautiful to watch. Like, there was a couple times in that first half where New England would kind of trap us in our own corner, and him, Lindsay, and Franco would just 1-2 out of there. Just quick little 5-yard passes. Pass and run out into space, and it was just something that we were really lacking. And he was able to also just switch the play a lot. Moving it from left to right. Through the ground, not just through the air, but just connecting with the other midfielders and the other wingers, and moving the ball around the field that way. So I thought his performance was great, and hope to see more of him in the lineup going forward. I definitely think we will.
Yeah, I saw. When Ortiz got put in, um, his presence was definitely out there.
Yeah.
He had a couple of shots.
I think the use
Even
of
though they were
Ortiz,
missed.
the use of Ortiz this match, I think, was better. I think
Yeah,
I think he's better coming on in the second half as like a forward, to be the second forward, or maybe even replace Roderski in games that were up, and letting him just kind of be in the attacking third as opposed to trying to generate the play.
yeah. Because going back to that Galaxy game and the Atlanta game, he was almost non-existent out there. He didn't have too many highlights, not too many chances created with the ball. But on this one, when everything was just kind of clicking,
he did have a couple times where he like would receive the ball, turn and shoot.
he did help the attack.
Yeah,
And so you're starting to see again with a new team. You're starting to see now this chemistry being formed with other players. Bender and Sardesky are working really well together.
yeah.
Franco and Lindsay are also working really well together, moving that ball up on the sides. Now we just need find that missing piece for the attacking midfield.
Yeah, I think I think it's on its way. I think
Yeah, Alcivar did really good in
yeah.
that spot. He created a lot of chances there.
Yeah, I think so too. So
Remember, I don't know if you recall, Bender's first shot Um, no, not his first shot, but his first goal was
Yeah, I
from a
mean, it was
pass from Alcivar.
yeah, yeah, we can definitely go into more detail on that one, but that was, yeah, one of the contributions he had there. And I think he even helped set up the first goal as Strzelecki as well. I think, him, Franco, and Strzelecki kind of
Mm-hmm.
combined to get that goal.
He had a
But
cross to Soderski too.
yeah, from the free kick,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, his deliveries look really good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm glad to see him take over like the free kick and corner kick duties off of Bender. Nothing against Bender. I thought his deliveries were good, but like Alcivar's were just on a slightly higher level. If that makes sense. So let's talk about I guess the first half. For me, I felt like again we talked about we had a lot of the possession. I felt like a lot of it though we were in our own half and really struggled to get out of it up until the play that led to Serderski's first goal. Serderski had the early goal. I mean, just great movement by him and great technical skills to
Yeah.
receive the ball.
Turn and shoot. That's all
Yeah,
it is. Simple
and
and fast.
he's so good with both feet too.
Yeah.
The left and the right.
I
Just
think at this, just in the professional level, you got to be able to do right-footed and left-footed shots accurately. Now, there's
yeah,
kind of like going into basketball. You got to be able to dribble with your left hand and your right hand. And now, uh, the way young talent is being brought up, it's like you gotta have both feet as weapons.
yeah, and he is just really good at like keeping the ball in tight space, like and quick little turns, like just a little shimmy, and he loses a guy. Gets half a yard of space and gets the shot off, and
Yeah,
that was the other thing that was really
both those
impressive.
goals he had that game were from tight marking that
Yeah,
he had around him. It's not like he had all the time in the world or anything.
no,
It was
yeah,
like just quick reactions, guys coming. He takes a half second longer, and that shot's getting blocked.
yeah. He also had really good hold up play. Like whenever we were whenever we didn't have possession in our own half, and New England was like passing it around. Once we won it back and kind of got it to him at the top of the half line, he did a really good job of just like shielding the ball and waiting for everyone to like run by him so he could play it. Um, he had an amazing game. He was on fire that game. Um, Anything else in the first half wanted to touch on?
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to go again. Don't want to criticize the defense too bad, but there was again a couple crosses that came in from the New England team that I felt like should have never even developed. And that's just going back into like our defense not pressuring those outside wingers enough. I feel like they're just kind of stepping back instead when they should be like stepping forward to make them do something instead of them just having all this time in the world to get a good cross in. Because
Yeah,
it's like those guys are dribbling in from the outside, and they can see their guys running in for like a header, and it's like you got to get on them quicker than that, so those other guys, the other attacking forwards, don't get that header in.
yeah, I agree. Especially, yeah, there was like the close one on the back post where one of New England's wing backs, headed it right into the side netting. Bender just didn't track him back. Just didn't stay marked onto him, and we just gave up that free header. I think Kalina probably would have had it on that occasion, but that's not something you want to leave up to chance.
No, yeah, because it could take like a bad bounce or just any if there's that 1%, something could go wrong. But it was a very tight angle
Yeah,
and very narrow space. So could it have gone in? Maybe, most likely not. But still, it was like a very close call.
yeah. One thing I do want to highlight though is Philip Lindsay's performance on the defensive end.
Superb.
I mean, he might be one of the best one-on-one defenders I've ever watched.
Yeah.
I don't think he ever gets beat one-on-one.
No, no, he hasn't. Last week we talked about the defense getting beat by these like simple step overs and then just going in there and diving, trying to get the ball. But he just kind of just pressures, waits, and makes these wingers and these forwards make their move or just make them. He's just waiting on them to make a mistake.
Yeah, I think
And that's great defense. I mean, you can coach and coach and coach, but some of that is just natural, just having a
instincts.
higher IQ out there than most of these guys.
Yeah, I think I would not be surprised if in 2 to 3 years he's not in the MLS anymore. I think, I don't know about playing at the likes of like Madrid or Barcelona, but definitely, Premier League, Bundesliga. I could see him playing at like a Tottenham or something.
Yeah,
Um,
especially him being a young guy like that. But
yeah, that's crazy.
we'll see.
Yeah, I think he'll also probably get a call up to the U.S. squad eventually.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
Definitely seeing him and probably Bender there as well.
yeah. I could see Bender being called up. I could see Lindsey being called up. Who else is out of the U.S. for our team?
Probably Adam Armour in a couple years. He's still
Armor. Oh
got
yeah,
some development, but I mean he's only 19. Um,
that was something else that surprised me on the lineup was that Armor was not starting, even though he had the goal last game.
it's just for his spot. I mean, you got to think he's competing up against Fuchs and Bender right now, essentially, because
Yeah,
he kind of plays that left wing back, so he can either play the left back or the left mid. So it's just a lot of competition there
he went
right
in
now.
for Bender.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Other thing though, I thought, I know you're a little unimpressed with McCoon, but I thought, Karuha and McCoon to me are looking like a really solid center back pairing, especially for they haven't been playing together that long. I mean, that's going to be a narrative of this team for a little while, but I think they're looking really good back there. Both, really intimidating center backs. In Corujo, especially this game, they're finally doing what I've kind of been wanting them to do is like take the space that's giving to you. He a couple times like won the ball at the top of the box and just charged
yeah,
into the
yeah,
into the halfway line, which before it felt like we would win the ball and then like just try to pass it around, and it's like if they're gonna give you 40 yards of space, just take it.
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
and he was finally starting to do that a good bit. I thought that was good. New England kind of woke up towards the last 10 minutes of the game because I felt like we controlled that first half.
A lot.
Yeah, pretty much all of it except maybe the last 10.
Mm-hmm.
But besides that, I thought it was really good. I didn't really think New England created like that many scary chances in the first half.
I gotta agree.
Yeah. What were your
Also
thoughts
gotta
on the
pee.
what?
Gotta pee.
You can go ahead and go now if you want. We can cut this out. All right, we are back after a quick bathroom break. All right, so let's jump into the second half. What were your thoughts on that?
Second half, I thought we started out pretty good. The most of you see New England starting to develop some sort of attack. There was a couple of missed shots there by Altador, is it? Their
Yeah.
forward or
Yep.
one of their forward. Well, he's the attacking striker. Yeah,
Yeah, and
the most forward one.
former U.S. striker, played in the Premier League in the 2012-ish
Mhm.
era.
I thought his name sounded familiar.
Yeah, it's a big player, very high quality player. But I felt like our defense shut him down pretty well.
Yeah, he didn't have too many opportunities, and once he did have, he wasted.
Yeah, but early in the second half, we do unfortunately give up our third penalty of the season. 3 and 4 games. That's just not something top teams really do. To kind of paint the picture for it, our team is trying to pass out of our own half. The ball goes to Brant Brancinco, number 13, who tries to just one touch pass it to our center back who's open in space, but it's just a sloppy pass.
Hard to even tell who he was passing to. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't know if he's trying to like quickly chip it all the way to our right back, or just drop back there to Macoun.
yeah.
But
And he
a
was
very sloppy pass.
marked a little bit, but not to
Not
me,
enough to make
not
such a
enough to
bad pass. He
You
could
can
have
definitely
held
take
on
a
to the
touch and then
ball,
at least try to draw the foul too.
right, or crossed it up.
Yeah, yeah. So just sloppy mid play. Leads to a breakaway. I funny enough, I talked to Dad on the phone yesterday about the game, and he brought up something I didn't really think about until I rewatched the game last night. Kalina immediately goes cleats in to
Mm-hmm.
get the ball, and he said, "Why didn't he just try to dive on the ball? You try to draw the foul that way, your way."
Right.
And when he first said it, I was like, I don't think he had that much time like to really think about it. But when I rewatched the game, I think he had
He
enough
had plenty
time.
of time to
Yeah.
kind of
So
decide that.
I wonder if that's just inexperience or what, but to give that, to get yellow carded there and to give up the PK.
You got yellow carded for that?
Yeah, he did.
Oh wow, I didn't notice that. Or
Yeah,
at least I
so
don't remember it.
yeah, picked up the yellow, 8 minutes into the first half, give up the PK, 1-1. What are your thoughts at that time? Were you thinking like, is this how it's gonna, is the game gonna end this way? Is it gonna be another unfortunate break for Charlotte? Or, what did you think when it went 1-1?
Yeah, man, when that PK went in, or as soon as that PK was given, I was just devastated. I was like, I can't believe they're giving another PK. This is, the third PK out of the fourth game we played. It's like it's not good. And then when it went in, I just thought, oh, here we go. It's gonna be like 1-1, but like still very early in the game, so I
Yeah.
wasn't, 100% giving up on Charlotte there. Um, Not too much criticism on Kalina. Yes, he could have went in gloves first to try to get the ball and draw the foul that way. But there's also the chance of injury.
Yeah.
You risk him being injured that way, and him performing the way he has in every match so far. Um, and you don't need this guy being injured right now.
No, yeah. I
Uh,
mean, like I've been saying on the podcast and on social media, like if anyone needs a statue in front of Bank of America Stadium, it's this guy.
right. So the fact that he went in cleats first, um, that was his decision, and I felt that was appropriate. So not too much criticism there on him, because I mean he stopped so many shots that could
Yeah,
have
even in
easily
this
went
game.
in this game, and just other games, especially against like the Atlanta game. It could have been a lot worse than it was.
Yeah.
So no, it's fine. But I felt that the team reacted really well to that PK.
Yeah, I thought something interesting in this game was I thought both halves we actually started slow, which has been a little bit different than what we've seen
Mm-hmm.
in all the other games where like we've started halves really strong and then kind of faded. I feel like this game we got off to a little bit of a slower start, but then 10 minutes in we were just controlling that game. The movement and like the passing of the midfield and just the whole team in general was just so good to see. Again, Swiderski was just like on fire this game. He was dropping in deep to get the ball, turning and
Yeah,
playing, holding up play. Uh,
making plays. I mean, he
yeah,
stole the ball and sent it upfield for our number 8 to
yeah,
make a play on.
Alcivar, yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, it started a little slow the second half, but I mean, 10 minutes or 11 minutes into the second half when we got goal number 2 from
yeah.
Swiderski. So
That
I
goal
thought it
was,
was good pace.
yeah. I mean, I'd much rather see the team play this way than to play good for 10 minutes and then bad for the remaining 35. Yeah,
I
let's talk
like
about
that they're
the
putting in. I mean, obviously you're gonna try to get a goal whenever you get a chance,
yeah,
but I like that they're putting in these early attack runs early in the game to not only set the momentum there, but it's like, okay, you got that first goal, which was around the 5 minute mark. Now that gives us a lot of time to, kill the clock and
hmm
just develop more plays for goal number 2,
yeah,
which is like, nail in the coffin.
yeah.
Because in soccer, you got 2-0 or 3-0. I mean, it's over.
Yeah, especially like the later on in the game, just because then it's like any little mistake you make is just compounded so much more.
Yeah, because I mean, coming back to tie it up and then win it, um, it's not unheard of, but it is difficult. But if you go
Yeah,
in early and you get that early goal, it gives you more control of the game,
yeah,
control of the time. So that 5 minute goal and then that 10 minutes into the second half goal. I mean, we're establishing a good dominance of the field there.
yeah. And what I really liked about that second goal is just how many more guys are getting into the box, into
Oh
the
yeah,
other opponent's box. It felt like the first 2 weeks it was always just one person in the box.
it's like they're
You
just
know,
crossing in. So Dursky's the only one there.
yeah, and this time it was across or a pass across the face of the goal. Bender's open and he passes it back to Sergejski at the top of the box. He just puts it away.
Yep.
Before I just felt like we didn't have the numbers for that, or people just weren't there. And it seems that the attack of this team is really developing. It's crazy how much progress they've made in just a week. It's especially again like I think a big part of it is obviously just spending more time together, playing together. But I think Alcivar playing into that midfield has been really good for them. He's dropping deep to defend and win the ball, and then like pushing it back up. Connecting these 1-2 plays, getting it to Serderski at his feet, which I think has been huge. Because the more I watch Serderski play, to me he seems more like a forward who wants the ball at his feet than in the air. I don't know what you think about that.
No, I think you're right. Look, if you look at Soderski's shot record right now, he's had at least three or four on goal headers where they all seem to be going right at the keeper.
Yeah,
Which, not to take away from that, but it's like you gotta place those better if you're gonna give him a header. But every time he gets the ball at his feet, I mean, the ball's going, it's in the back of the net,
yeah,
and he's making the goalkeeper dive for it. And just to touch a little bit on what you said earlier, as far as there seems to be a lot more guys in the box. I mean, I couldn't agree more. Going back to like even on the first half, where Bender steals the ball,
yeah,
sends it up to Franco, and Franco misses, and then Bender gets his first shot of the game. Obviously, it doesn't go in, but you have in the box at that time. You got Franco, you got Bender, you got Swiderski,
you got Rios there
and
also.
Rios. So it's nuts.
Yeah, they were all goal hungry that game. There was like even in the first half again, like Rios had a couple moments where he had two guys like at the top of the box and he just went
Yes.
for it himself, which is
Yeah.
like a little bit of a waste, but at
Uh,
least he's doing something.
Selfish, but I think he's just
He's
um
trying to find his form.
trying to find his form, trying to put his name in the books there, get one in the back of the net. But
Yeah.
still, I mean, it's still early in the season. That chance is going to come. Why not give your team a better lead
Yeah.
than being selfish? When I saw that guy wide open at the top of the box and he took that shot, I was like, man, that was selfish. Like, it's a ruined moment.
Yeah, I think back to the one you were talking about with Ben Bender and Rios and Franco. Swiderski had a word with Bender after that of saying like, just leave it. Like I'm sure he's shouting for it. Like leave it. I got it. He's
Yeah.
shouting at him, and I think they were both just trying to chip it in there.
I would
But
say that's more of a yes. Looking at the replay, Soderski had a much better angle and shot at the goal than Bender did. But also at the time, you're right there in the 6 yard box, where you don't have a lot of time to think or react. And sometimes you don't hear maybe Soderski screaming for it. And I
oh yeah,
think Bender
especially in that
just went on
stadium.
instinct. So I can't blame him for that. But looking back at the replay, and I'm sure Bender's looking back at the replay, yeah, Soderski definitely had that better shot, and it probably could have went in. But still, good on him for at least trying.
Yeah, he looked really. I mean, every game he's looking more and more dangerous. They
Yeah.
both are.
Look, that
Swiderski and
play would have never
Bender.
even occurred if Bender hadn't ran up and snuck up behind that defense and then gave Franco that ball. Like,
Yeah,
that could have been just a goal kick or something like that. That Bender made that play happen. So yeah, that's
yeah. The
fine.
little
Take the
the
shot.
little touch he had to like kind of push it around the guy, then he ran around him the other
Yeah,
way and to
exactly.
recover it. That was really nice. It was very Ronaldo esque, I would
Yeah,
say.
very sneaky.
Yeah, like I'm just gonna outpace you here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, more of the same. I thought the midfield. I thought the team just passing looked really good this game. Just passing out of tight spaces, moving the ball left and right through the ground. When they did switch it through the air, I thought it was really effective. They were finding Franco and Lindsay a lot into open space.
Hmm.
And then especially towards like the, you know, I guess we can talk about the third goal. I think it kind of, New England was really trying to push for an equalizer. They were sending everyone forward and just really lost the discipline on the defensive side. And Serderski wins the ball, in our own half,
Hmm.
towards the midline, holds it up, gets Alcivar on the run, plays it into space beautifully, like perfect weight.
Yeah.
Uh, catches Alcivar right on the feet. And then Alcivar, draws the two defenders and the goalie to him, and he's able to, play it on the ground across the face of goal, and Bender just taps it right into the upper 90.
beautiful one-time hit by
Yeah.
Bender. I mean, you couldn't have gotten any more perfect than that. And um, Alzavar, I thought he could have passed it a little sooner, but the way he passed it, man, that was a crazy angle. The way he passed it back,
Yeah.
but Bender was right on position for it. So, man, that was a good goal, and that was absolutely the nail on the coffin for that game. There
Yeah.
was no way those guys are coming back.
No.
Not after that.
After that, I think the team, kept the ball again for majority. It defended really well. We see some changes being made. We see Bender come off for Armor. We see who came off for Rios came off for Ortiz.
Yeah,
Broncinco comes off for Derek Jones. So we see the debut of Derek Jones, the new signing a week
I
ago.
thought was really good.
Yeah, I
I mean,
don't think
nothing
we've.
spectacular, but enough to
Yeah,
be like, okay, this was a good trade.
yeah, I think he is quality. I think he receives the ball really well. Big unit of a dude. Like
Yeah,
he is so big.
I mean, if he wasn't playing MLS, he could probably play basketball. Like this
Yeah,
guy is tall,
yeah, and just like
which is
jacked.
good to have on the defensive unit to get those all these crosses that seem
Yeah,
to be coming in.
yeah, he did a really good job of like heading out a couple crosses, especially on a
Good pressure too that he's
yeah.
showing.
Some of the free kicks we gave, he did a good job of clearing those. I think
It
you
was
know,
Armor, Ortiz, and Jones that came in, and Rios came out, like you said. Bender
yeah,
came out, and who else came out?
Brant Broncinco.
Brancinco came out, right?
Yeah,
Which I thought was deserved. Brancinco, he's good to have out there, but not enough for me to like remember what he did throughout the game.
it's kind of been that's the same story that's been every game, right? Like, I mean, I know he's out there.
Yeah,
I just the only thing I could tell you he did this game was give up the PK. Um,
yeah,
but other than that, like, I can't tell you what he's doing. I don't think he's like shutting down any one particular guy. Um, you know, he doesn't really distribute the ball that well. I was losing my mind the first 10 minutes of the game actually because like he'd be wide open in the middle, Kalina would play him, and he would just immediately play it back to Kalina. And
yeah.
I'm
And
like,
I hate when they do that. It's
yeah,
like, okay, like the goalkeeper's giving you the ball, you gotta do something with it. Don't go back to the
yeah.
goalkeeper.
But I will say to touch back to Kalina and in the second half, you know, New England was sending everything at us. He did a really good job of playing the ball perfectly into space to our forwards. Like I thought he found Ortiz into space a couple of times really well, Franco into space a couple of times. Like his distribution with the ball was really good.
Yeah. One thing I don't like when goalkeepers send the ball up to forwards is you get these high lofted balls where it just ends up being a 50-50 ball. And if you get it great, then you attack. But if you don't, then it's just a wasted opportunity where you could have just passed it on the ground up the field,
Yeah.
and you keep possession the whole time. But Kalina seems to send this thing like he has like this crazy knuckleball
Does,
that he
yeah, it's
sends, and
so
it's like
pretty.
if you're not, it's not exactly a header ball because I mean if you're gonna head that, your concussion's coming. But it's like you need to like chest it or to bring it down or let it go
Yeah.
past you and then chase it. But I've never seen a goalkeeper send a ball up like that. It's really odd, and but I like it. I
Yeah, I like
mean,
it too. It's not like
he's not just
super
putting it up
high.
in the air for like
Yeah.
whoever grabs it. It's like it's deliberate.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he has really good distribution, especially for a goalkeeper. I thought, I think a lot of people were stunned to not see Ortiz start. I think we talked a little bit about that already, but I think the way he was used in this game, I think is perfect. I think it's exactly what we need from him.
Yeah,
I actually would be interested to see how he would have played over Rios in that game.
yeah,
But I think him only needing to put in like 20 minutes of good effort and just focusing on like the final third as opposed to like having to start the play, he's kind of there to just finish it. And we saw some potential there. There was a time where he received the ball at the top of the box and was able to turn and shoot it, and quality shot. I think it could have gone in just a little wide.
yeah. And he's
Um,
shooting from where I like to see a lot of these shots from a guy in his position to shoot from is right outside the box.
yeah, absolutely. So I think that was a good change for him. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have a whole lot more to add in that second half. What about you? Anything else you think we should cover here in the second half?
For the second half, I didn't have too many notes there. Um, I I did like how Serdersky is not only sending in crosses. Well, not that's not what I mean to say. What I mean to say is how he's not just waiting for the crosses to come to him, but now he's sending them
Yeah.
in to other players and having other attackers involved in that. Um,
Yeah, he's
I
not afraid to like drop off the box and get
exactly
deeper to
play out
ask
of
for that
position a
ball.
little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did like that.
Yeah, his movement off the ball is just as good as like his dribbles and shooting.
Yeah.
He's it's clear to see like why he's the first DP, that we signed. I think he's totally earned, the money that he's getting paid.
Yeah. Yeah. So no, I like the way that we handled the second half. Going back to setting the pace early, we had our second goal 56 minutes in, and then our third and final goal 63 minutes in. So it's like
Hmm.
almost like 10-minute intervals there.
Yeah.
And then once you have that third goal, they controlled the ball really well. They didn't ease off,
Yeah.
but you did see where they're just at that time. 63 minutes in, 3-1. You're just managing time there,
Yeah. You're
which I
just
thought they did
trying not to
really
make any
well.
mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. And they handled that situation really well. So I was really proud of the team for this win. Definitely well earned,
Yeah.
and it wasn't like a fluke, or it's not that the opposing team was tired.
No, they got outplayed.
No, yeah, that's exactly it. They just got outplayed. I think that this team we have now and the formation that they're playing and how the team chemistry is developing could be a very strong, formidable team against others.
Yeah, I think, after watching a couple other games around the league, watching, how some of the top teams play, Seattle, LAFC, LA Galaxy, just watching them, I don't see really anything like hugely different from the way they attack and they defend. I think this team could definitely, they keep trending the way they're going. There's still the summer transfer window coming also, so
Yeah,
we still have the potential to sign another DP and make some other moves within within the salary limits.
because I think we still have like two open rosters.
Yeah, and one of those is going to be a DP spot, so we
Yeah,
can pretty much bring in whoever. Um, but I think this team is gelling in the right direction. Uh, a couple, and they're improving every week, like drastically.
and we still haven't seen I mean, obviously he's still injured, but we still haven't seen Yazviak, who we
Yeah,
just signed 2 weeks ago, I think
yeah,
it was. They're still, I mean, this team's full of great talent.
and they're really young. The
Uh
average
huh.
age on our team's 25. New England was 29.
Yeah.
So a lot of young talent that's developing. Just this team has so much potential. It's
Hmm.
actually crazy how much they have.
Yeah. At first, I was thinking, where maybe we finished the season the way we were going, um, not bottom of the table, but like second half of the table. But now I'm
Yeah.
thinking, at least middle or upper.
I think we definitely make playoffs.
Yeah.
I think so.
I
I
mean,
don't. I mean, there's. I see some of the teams that are like in those spots now, and I don't see why we shouldn't be like a top four, top five team. Um, One thing I did notice though, I think they'll probably work on going forward is like again, in that late in that second half, New England was sending a lot of players up, which gave us a lot of like breakaway opportunities,
hmm
and it just seemed like a lot of the times we'd get these opportunities and then just like slow down the pace, like as opposed to like there's a couple times where one sub that we didn't mention, Sergio Ruiz came in and played, and he's kind of more of like a center mid, center holding mid. He had like a couple breakaways where he was basically just like one on one with like their center back, or I think maybe even like with one on one with just the keeper, and instead of just like taking the 30, 40 yards like to get into the box, he would just like slow down and just everyone kind of came back.
Yeah.
So I'd like to kind of see them take advantage of that a bit more. I think
hmm
a player like Yazwiak, when he does get into the lineup, I think that'd be something he's really good at. Which with the pace he has, and I think the natural finishing ability. But yeah, I think that's kind of the one takeaway I have from this game is where I'd like to see them improve a little bit. Is just take advantage of those breakaways a bit more.
Yeah, yeah. As far as improvements for me, I'd say just I still think our defense is not pressure enough on these wingers that are coming in, sending those balls. McCoon is another one that constantly worries me every time I see him defending a player because, like, he had that PK last game where he saw because the ref saw the arm extension.
Yeah.
It wasn't a hard foul or anything like that, but like I said, once that ref sees the arm extended and the guy goes to the ground, it's like it's like a car accident where you're rear-ended. If you hit somebody from behind, like whoever you rear-end, you're automatically
Yeah,
at
it's your
fault.
fault. Yeah.
So I saw a lot of the same thing on this one. When that one cross went in and McCoon was on the guy, and luckily Kalina saved it.
Yeah.
But when those two guys are going to the ground, I just see McCoon's arms just stretched out right over the guy. I was like, man, that could have easily been another PK given up.
Yeah.
So
I think it's
yeah,
definitely
I get
something.
he's like young and all that, but it's like I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed at all by him.
Yeah. I think what I like about him is that I think he is the one that does like pressure early and like shuts down space. I think he like reads offenses pretty well. Like he knows when to push forward and when to put like not to shut down the space. But yeah, I think he can get a little bit sloppy in the box with his physicality of like just yeah, like essentially just being a little too physical or
I just see him get beat a lot, and he's just like he gets beat by these runs, and then he's just running back to like try to catch up and do some sort of desperate act of defense.
yeah, it'll. I mean, we have depth at that position too, so we'll have to see what Ramirez decides to do.
Yeah, I'd like to see the coach explore um, different options there instead of him, because this is, I believe, his fourth start now.
Hmm.
So, I mean, he must be doing something right in practice to impress the coach. And if he's the best we have at that position, I'd hate to see what the other ones kind of look like. I I want to see what they look like, but if he's starting that position for a reason. So
Well, I think it also has to do with like I think he distributes the ball pretty well from out of the back too.
yeah, I mean, when he gets it out of the back, and when he does make a play, he does distribute it out to the wingers pretty well. That's a simple task.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when I think about it, in that back four, yeah, he probably is the weak link there. But I,
I
yeah,
like to see, if anything, like we discussed on last week. I like to see him and Fuchs switch roles,
yeah,
because
that'd
I
be
saw
interesting.
Fuchs also getting beat a lot, or just not pressuring those outside wings a lot.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring up Fuchs getting beat. I was looking at the Sofa Score app, and for any of those that don't have it, Sofa Score, they do a lot of the statistics and match ratings of all the teams, and he got a 6.0 out of 10. And to me, and I'll actually pull it up real quick what he got in Atlanta. Let's see here, and then a 6.5 against the game in Atlanta. He hasn't looked that sharp to me these last two games
In
compared
that
to that
left
LA
back
game.
position.
Yeah, I don't. I think he just gets beat really easily there.
Yeah.
And then I think he has really good technical abilities, really good passing. He's really quick with the ball at his feet, like to dribble wise and to get it out of his feet wise. But I think he just gets really isolated in that left back position.
Yeah,
Um,
I think he gets gassed when we lose possession and he's running back trying to get back on defense.
mhm.
I think he's probably like you mentioned, he just he's tired and he doesn't make good decisions there,
Yeah,
and that's where he gets beat. On the attack. He does well
yeah.
of starting the attack on that side, and those
He connects with Bender really well.
he does connect with Bender really well and give and go passes. He does really well on that. But when we lose the ball and then he's tracing back, is when he's starting to like just not be a presence there.
Yeah, and yeah, crosses to that back post where he's covering the back post. He's gotten beat a couple times now. It'll be interesting to see if Ramirez experiments with some changes in that back line. I think for me, Carujo and Lindsay are good, like
Yeah,
great. I think they deserve to stay there constantly. For me, I'm still 50-50 on McCoon. And obviously, I still want to see Fuchs in the starting lineup, but
Yeah.
I'd like to see maybe him switch to center back role a little bit more. But any final thoughts on the game, or is that kind of it for you there?
No, I think that kind of covers it all. Kalina's still making great saves out there. Happy with the goalkeeper that we have.
Yeah. So before we cover, our thoughts on the Cincinnati game, that's also going to be here at home, wanted to do a little segment with you, and we can do this every couple weeks or every week. But name one player, and I think you kind of already have here, but one player that you are out on, that you are just no more for at least a week.
Or like, don't play him anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely Bender. I'm sick of seeing all that hair out there. No, no, not Bender. Bender needs to start. He's definitely earned that starting position. Um, I think everybody probably knows it. It's McCoon for me. McCoon has given up PKs. He's sloppy defensive. I don't think that that center back position suits him well. Yes, it's only our fourth game, but that's just what I've seen from the fourth games. I say take McCoon out, maybe put in Armor. Armor seemed like he did a well job there.
Yeah.
I like to
Although
see
he
some
did
of
pick
these.
up a yellow.
Yeah, but it's a yellow.
Yeah.
It's not a PK, and he's not getting beat.
Yeah, that's true.
On those runs, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, it's number 13, Brant Bronico. And it's unfortunate because he's a UNCC alumni, UNC Charlotte alumni. I'm a UNCC Charlotte, UNC Charlotte alumni. I want to like the guy. He plays my preferred position. Went to the same school, but I just don't think he does anything for the team. Like, I think his distribution's bad. I don't think he does any like meaningful marking that like stops any attacks, or like I watch him and I just don't see anything, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think with the signing of Derek Jones, and Derek Jones got to play like 15, 20 minutes of that last game over him. I think next week we will probably either see Derek Jones get more playing time earlier or just get the start over him. But yeah, I'm kind of just out on him right now. Nothing personal, nothing like that. If he ever listens, seems like a great guy, but just not doing it for me in the lineup.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you on that one for sure. Just because yeah, he's out there, but if it wasn't for like the lineup stat sheet there, I wouldn't have even known he was out there.
Yeah,
The couple of minutes that Jones played in at that position, like I definitely noticed him. I don't know if it was because it was just his starting match or what, but I just noticed Jones more his presence as far as defensive
yeah, like
was just more. I don't even know what a good word for it. He just stood out more.
yeah. I mean, to give it some context, like again on the Sofa Score app, he got a 6.3 this past game. Against Atlanta, he had a 6.4, and against LA, he allegedly had a 6.8. I don't know how he got the
Which
6.
defensively, we had a much better game against LA.
Yeah, that's true. But again, like I just can't like tie anything to him of like what he did to make that so. But yeah, I mean, for me, he's just been the weakest link on the team, and I want to see Derek Jones there. I think Derek Jones has a lot of potential.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, big tall guy like that, that's a weapon that we need to see more of for sure. Just
And someone who isn't afraid to like get forward with the dribble. I think his distribution's better. Yeah, so
yeah,
I'm out on him. I'm out on Brant for the week. But we'll see. And this can be something we can revisit. All right, FC Cincinnati is coming to town. Game is at 5 o'clock on Saturday here at home, Bank of America Stadium. They just came off of a 3-1 win over Inter Miami.
not a strong team.
Yeah. I think Inter Miami's bottom of the table.
Yeah,
FC Cincinnati's kind of had a rough start to the year. They lost to Austin FC, who's also a new expansion team, 5-0. I mean, that's a pretty, big
Austin
loss.
FC right now is a powerhouse. From just like watching match highlights and where they're at on their tables. I mean, this team's incredible.
Yeah. And then and then they lost to a 10-man DC United.
Yeah.
1-0. I mean, what are you going to do there? But they've beaten Orlando FC, who is a top team in our conference, number 4. And then, like we said last week, they beat Inter Miami. What are your thoughts going into the game? I watched the highlights. What are you looking for?
Well, I think this team, what I saw from watching on the highlights, defensive, I think we could definitely get a couple goals in there. Their defense doesn't seem to similar to our defense. They don't pressure the outside wings as well as much,
Hmm.
which is where Miami got a lot of their shots
Yeah.
from these crosses coming in. So you could see more of that when it comes to this game. What worries me about their attacking team is when they're at the top of the box or somewhere near inside the box, they have these little chip ins cross
Yeah.
that they've gotten. That's how they got 2 out of their 3 goals.
Yeah.
So, which is if our guys are getting beat well, they have been getting beat like that.
Yeah.
That's something that the coach needs to plan some sort of defensive plan around that. That's where we get beat up a lot.
Yeah, and I think he will. After listening to a couple of Ramirez's interviews, he seems to be like a coach who sets the formation and the game plan around the opponent, as opposed to just forcing his like own style,
Yeah,
which is it has positive and negatives, but I think it seems to be working for us. Like we said, we've been in every game that we've played basically, like competitively. But yeah, watching the Cincinnati highlights, I don't see anything dangerous from them compared to like Atlanta and LA. To me, I think this is going to be, and I said this last week to New England, but I think this is probably going to be the weakest team we've played so far. So I think we should walk away with a win again. Score predictions?
yeah. I'm gonna be a little conservative. I'm gonna say 2-0 on this one.
Yeah, actually, that's 2-0 is exactly what I was thinking as well. I think Serdersky gets another one, and I think Alekar or Alcivar gets his first.
Yeah, Soderski for sure gets one. I'm hoping to see one from Ortiz. We'll see if Rio starts. I don't see Rio starting. He's
Especially
been
if Rain is healthy.
yeah, yeah. If
I'd rather
Reyna's
see
playing,
Reina.
then I'd like to see one from Reyna. But I mean, just coming back from an injury and scoring, we'll see about that. But Swiderski gets one, and there could be another one from Bender. I
Yeah,
mean, Bender had he had one this past game, and he had 1 or 2 shots where they were missed.
yeah.
So it could be the same 2 goal scorers. You know.
Yeah, I definitely would like to see the goals distributed a little more. Just, that way that we've got the goal scoring depth. But
Yeah, I mean, I like to see Ortiz score.
yeah,
I like to see Awful back in the game.
I was surprised not to see him get any playing time. I think
Yeah.
that would have been a good game for him just because his speed and his ability to get into open space. Like New England was
Mhm.
just giving us so much space on the wings.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd like to see him back in the lineup as well.
Yeah, we just got to watch out for those little chip in crosses when they're inside the box. I didn't see too many outside shots
Hmm.
coming in from them, so I'm not too worried about that. Crosses that they send in, those little small crosses are dangerous because those guys sneak in there in the back quick.
Yeah,
So, you see guys like Fruits or Macoon getting beat like that. Got to keep an eye out for that.
yeah. Absolutely. I think that wraps up today's episode. If you like the podcast, give it a review, 5 stars. Leave a review. That always helps out. And feel free to follow us on our socials at offsides_CLTFC on Instagram and Twitter. And we will catch you guys next week. Peace.
Bye.